This first question is from Coral. In light of the hardships suffered because of COVID-19, I'd like to be able to provide my members with either a temporary price reduction or a couple months free. How can I do this for current members already on a paid subscription? So if you have the advanced plan, let me share my screen here. If you're on the advanced plan, that's pretty straightforward. Let me just make sure I have a member with an active subscription. I'll just purchase a subscription real quick. Let's just say this, $10 every month. Let's purchase this one. Open it up in a new browser, submit order. Okay, so now if we go to the member screen, we should see this new member was added on the newsletter. And if we go into this member details, go to subscriptions, we see we have an active subscription. And you'll see here that there's a next rebill date of April 20th. Now, what I can do is I can just click edit and I can change the next rebill date. So this is the easiest way to do it. You literally just push this out to, say, June 20th. Save it. And now this person will not be billed until June 20th. So that's one way to do it. The second best way to do it, and now really you only have these options for if you're using a payment service that supports card on file functionality. For example, Stripe, Braintree, authorized.net CIM. If you're not using these payment services, then Membermouse is not in control of the subscription. And so therefore, really your only options in terms of changing the subscription calendar is by working directly with the third party who is controlling that subscription, for example, PayPal or auth.net's ARB. So you would need to work with them. But in the case of if you're working with authorized.net, CIM, Stripe, or Braintree, the things that I'm discussing now apply to those situations. So the first one was, if you're on the advanced plan with Membermouse, you have the ability to push out the next rebill date. If you're not on the advanced plan, then what you can do is you can create a new product. So let's just say you're not on the advanced plan and you want to push people's billing out 2 months, okay? So we have this newsletter, which is associated with this bundle. So what I'll do is I'll create a new product called newsletter 2 months free, because this is essentially what you want to do. You want to give these people 2 months free or whatever you want to give them free. And when they purchase this product, they're going to get access to the newsletter, same as the current product. The price is the same price per month, but the trial is a 2-month period. And the subscription is once a month. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so now we have this 2-month free trial product. And what you can do is, again, you go into the member whose subscription calendar you want to modify. Go to this, go to access rights. Sorry, I looked over, I'm looking at this. I looked over a very basic aspect, which is you do have this pause functionality on the newsletter. Of course, if you do this, you're gonna have to come back and manually reactivate it for everybody. I'll Also, my memory, I'm not sure this actually does influence billing. Off the top of my head, I think it does. I think it basically just cancels billing. And then when you reactivate it, it reactivates billing again. That's my memory. So let's just go ahead and cancel this because we're basically gonna put them on a new plan. So now if I go to my newsletter and do apply bundle, and I select my new product that I created for 2 months free and bill card on file, now, when we go to the subscription tab, we will see that they're not going to be billed until May 20th, 2 months from now. So that's another option. You can do this if you don't have the advanced plan with Membermouse where you can actually just edit the subscription. But of course, with either of these cases, you're going to need to do this on a one-by-one basis for your customers. There's no way to do this in bulk across a large group of customers. Cindy's saying in the chat, what about creating a new product and sending it to them via email? Yes, you could do that too if you're, again, if you're not working with a card on file solution. Well, actually, yeah, that's a good point. That, you know, and it actually may fit into how you want to announce this to people. You could just create a new product and say, in light of the situation, we wanted to offer you 2 months for free. In order to accept this offer, purchase this product. The downside with that is you really can only do that if the product is associated with a membership level, because if they purchase that product, you want it to automatically cancel the old subscription that they're on. And this functionality only exists between products on a particular membership level. If it's in this case of this example that I've been doing, if it's associated with a bundle and you send them a product associated with the bundle that they already have an active subscription for, and they purchase that product, then they're basically just gonna end up having 2 active subscriptions. And you're gonna need to go in and cancel the original subscription manually or something like that. So the emailing the product link to them in an email works, but only if that product is associated with a membership level, so that Membermouse will automatically cancel the old subscription. And make sure, if you're gonna, you know, make sure whatever thing that you're gonna do, if you're gonna have customers do it themselves, make sure you test it out on a dummy account so that you make sure the behavior works exactly the way you think it will, okay? All right, so this next question is from Ken. Is there a way to show current card details on the My Account page? No, there's no way to do that. So this has partly to do with PCI compliance things. Membermouse does not store any card related or personally identifiable related information in your database tables, in your local tables. And trust me, you are thankful that it doesn't do this, because it would put you at a higher level of exposure for PCI compliance, which would increase your costs for being in line and following those guidelines. So no, you can't do that on the My Account page. Credit card data is not stored anywhere in the Membermouse database tables. Next question is from Wolf. On the checkout page, I want to add a drop-down so the user can change the plan selection. So for example, they have chosen my basic monthly plan, but want to switch to the basic annual plan. How can I add this? Okay, there is a support article on this. See if I can find it. Here we go. Switch between membership levels or products on a checkout page. So this article goes through a couple ways you can do this. The first one is using buttons, and the second one is using a drop-down. So either way, just follow the steps in this article, and either way, you'll give your customers the option to both see which item they've currently selected and have the ability to switch between other items right from the checkout page. Okay. Another question from Wolf. I offer WordPress care plans. I have 4 plans, each with 4 term options, monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, and annual. That means I have to create a total of 16 products, each with their own membership levels. This is a ton to manage and deal with. Why is there not a way for me to create just the 4 main product levels, basic, annual, elite, enterprise, and allow the client to select term at checkout? Why is there no way to do this? Because there isn't. I mean, it's a very specific scenario you're talking about, and while it may occur to you in your situation, it makes perfect sense that it should be able to do this. When you're building a piece of software, you need to account for more generic scenarios. You need to make things flexible so that people can not only do what you're talking about doing, but do any number of other things. So that's why Membermouse is designed the way it is, so that it supports the vast majority of different scenarios that people want to execute. And yes, sure, it's in your particular scenario, having 16 products and 4 plans seems like a lot, but it's actually, you know, if you think about it a little bit further about how much harder it would be to do this without a piece of software like Membermouse, and you know, it's really not that tough. So, so I think that you know, just set it up and it'll be fine. It won't be as hard to manage it as you think it's going to be. All right. This next question is from Willie. You're welcome, Wolf. My pleasure. This next question is from Willie. I made an opt-in form with a product link for Membermouse in it. In this way, Membermouse registers the member and gives them a welcome email. My problem is how to connect this opt-in with a list or member registration in Aweber. Okay, so I think that you're asking, how can I get, when somebody registers for Membermouse, how can I get them to be added to a list in Aweber? Given that Aweber is a native integration for us with email integration, this is very straightforward. I don't have Aweber credentials, so I'm not going to be able to demonstrate this specific for Aweber, but it's the same for any of the email service providers. The process is the same. So essentially, let's say that your opt-in form is associated with the free membership level. When you put in your Aweber credentials up in this area, what will happen is this dropdown will be populated with all the lists that you have in Aweber, that you've configured in Aweber. So basically all you're doing here is a mapping exercise. You're saying, when somebody signs up for the free membership level in Membermouse, I want them to be added to this list in Aweber. When somebody signs up for this membership level, I want them to be added to this list in Aweber. Now you can do this for membership levels, you can also do this for bundles. So you can say, okay, when somebody signs up for this bundle, I want them to be added to this list in Aweber. And when they cancel that bundle, I want them to be added to this cancellations list in Aweber. Okay, so it's really straightforward. All you need to do is come to email settings, email integration, select Aweber as your provider, follow the instructions in the article to put in the API key from Aweber or whatever it is, and then do these mappings so that Membermouse knows where you want them to be put in Aweber when something happens in Membermouse. And then going forward, it will happen automatically. Okay. Next question is from Gaynor. When importing legacy members, do I keep adding new ones to the relevant CSV? Will Membermouse recognize that the older ones are already in the system? Yes. Membermouse will recognize that the older, you can do either. You can remove them from the ones you've already imported from the CSV and just have a new CSV file with the additions, or you can keep the old ones in and it will act as an update. So basically, Membermouse will recognize those accounts have already been created. But if the name has changed or the address has changed, that address and name will be updated on the existing account. So you can use it as like an update if you want. Next question from Willie. How can I remove inactive bundles? Okay, so you're saying that you want to delete them from the system. If that's the case, you can't. If you can at all delete a bundle, this trash can icon would be red. For example, if I just create a bundle right now, and I save it, oh, sorry. You'll see that this trash can is red, meaning that I can delete it. Now, as soon as anybody purchases this bundle, you'll notice that all of these bundles have subscribers associated with them. You can't delete the bundle because there are linkages. And if you delete the bundle, those linkages would be orphaned, and that's why we don't allow you to do it. Now, what you could do, if you really want to delete the bundle from your system, you could look at who's subscribed to it and then go through the process of deleting the association. So, you know, cancel the bundle associated with it and go through all the members so that you remove all linkages to the bundle, and then you should be able to delete the bundle. But basically, as long as any aspect of the Membermouse system is linking to that bundle and requires it to exist so that it can have the data, the name of the bundle, the ID, etc., you're not going to be able to delete it. All right. Next question from Wolf. Every other membership plugin I have used, MemberPress, Paid Memberships Pro, etc., has a built-in way to build pricing tables. This seems to me like pretty standard features. With Membermouse, I have to do this outside of the plugin. Do you ever plan to make this feature in Membermouse? No, we don't. Membermouse is very distinctive from our competitors in a lot of ways. One of the specific ways that we are different from them is that we focus very much on all the backend functionality that's required to build a membership site. So when you think about a membership site, there's two components. There's everything that's used to power the membership site behind the scenes, which includes all of the algorithms and technologies for and rules for building your products, managing members, automation features, reporting, how to build checkout forms, functional aspects like that. Membermouse focuses on functional aspects. When it comes to look and feel, we don't play that game, right? And we don't want to play that game because there's so many theme providers, and every customer is going to have such a specific need and way that they want stuff to look. And that's just not our specialty. So to me, I'm more of a purist. And so to me, there's a very strong line between visual client-based things like client-side stuff, how the site looks, what people are interacting with, all the UI things, and how everything functions. Membermouse focuses on how things function, and this is going to be how it remains, because as soon as you start splitting your focus and trying to do two things, doing the client side stuff, which is really theme territory as far as I'm concerned, and also backend stuff, well, naturally, you've taken all of your resources that you can do, and now you're splitting them across two, therefore, you're naturally pulling focus away from one of them to put it on another. And we don't want to pull focus away from building the best possible backend functionality that can be built for membership sites, because again, there are so many theme developers who are going to do a much better job than us because they're focusing 100% of their efforts on doing that. So it's more of a principle thing. Like, let the theme developers put 100% of their focus on building themes, and let us put 100% of our focus in doing this thing. I can understand why people are offering this, because they have customers ask, oh, I want to do this thing, and they don't want to tell them, oh, you have to work with a theme. But that's it's more of a beginner situation where people are going to have a concern about that. The level of customers that we typically work with are coming to us, they've used these other plugins, they recognize the weaknesses and the functional areas of these plugins, which is why they're coming to us, and they're looking to us for the strength of our functional aspects, the resilience of the plugin, the fact that 1 million active members can run on Membermouse without any problems, right? That's why they're coming to us. And so we continue to focus and invest in those areas to make sure that we maintain our supremacy in those areas. Okay, so Wolf, you're saying, thanks so much for the honest and candid answers. I am in my trial and was still trying to decide whether or not to purchase. Thanks to you, I'm indeed going to purchase. Yeah, my pleasure, Wolf. I'm all about honesty. I mean, we want people to use our product only if it's right for them, and the best way for them to know if it's right for them is for us to tell exactly how it is. So if you do sign up with us, you can expect more of the same. We'll always tell you what we're thinking, and also our support team is there to support you if you have any questions on getting through things. There's always aspects of new systems that need to be learned, and that can be daunting, especially with a system as powerful as Membermouse. So that's why our support team is there. That's why I do these office hours, so that you can get those answers. You know, we have our support center, and that's always available, but you know, I know for me, I like to send an email. I like to ask a question. I know the answers are there in the support centers, but my personality type is such that I want to deal with somebody. So that's why we offer all of these different options. So we're here to help you as you get started. So you have those resources available to you. Email support@membermouse.com if you need anything. And of course, on Fridays, I'll be here to answer your questions. All right. Next question is from Gainer. Can you show again, step by step, the method to view the site from the outside or as a member would? Sure. So there's two ways to do this. One way is kind of while you're developing. Let's see. There's the preview settings bar is something we offer. So let me just find a sample page here. Let's just see what this is. Okay, so you see here, in a previous tutorial, somebody must have asked me, how do I hide the preview settings bar? So it's hidden right now. So basically we need to go to general settings, other settings, and preview settings bar options, show preview settings bar. and save that. And now if we go back to pages, view that. Okay, so now we see the preview settings bar. So this page apparently is protected. And if I go back, I see that really only people on video course tier 1 can view it, right? So if I go to this page and view it, I actually see an error page because I don't have access. Now, what does it mean to have access if I'm viewing the site as an administrator, right? I'm not an actual member who's purchased a product. So that's what the preview settings bar is for. It allows you to define what the access rights are for viewing the site. So I can say, this is the type of membership I want to have. These are the bundles that I want to have on my account. And this is, if there was drip content, you could also specify the day, how long you've been a member. And when I save these, now as I go through the site and view the pages when I'm logged in as an administrator, I will view these pages as if I have these access rights. So I would say using the preview settings bar is a good thing to do when you're working on a single page, and on that page you may have multiple things that display differently based on what access rights somebody has. For example, maybe you're using smart tags to determine if somebody has a particular bundle or not, and if they don't have the bundle, you show one thing, and if they do have the bundle, you show another. Okay, so this would be a good time for when you would use the preview settings bar, because you come to view the page and you'd say, okay, I want to see what it looks like with this bundle off, and you save it, and then the page would show you that, and then I want to see it with the bundle on, so you save it, and then you'd see the changes reflected. Now, for full lifetime testing, for full life cycle testing, or I don't know what the right word is, I think the best thing to do is actually go through the site as a customer would. So, and the reason this is good is because there are multiple steps involved in a process of a customer going from being a prospect to purchasing a product, going through the checkout, maybe going through an upsell process, and ultimately landing on the page where their content is delivered to them. And the more that you can test this process, the more prepared you'll be for launch and the less likely something is to go wrong. It's great to have the preview settings bar to work on pages and to be able to dynamically change it so you can make sure on a page level everything's good. But for more larger scale or higher perspective views, like what menu is showing and when somebody purchases something, are they given the right access? Because you want to make sure you've wired things correctly in the configuration. And the best way to determine if you haven't done that is to go through it as a customer will go through it as many times as possible. So I recommend for testing the process that I go through and that I think is the best thing to do is, first of all, under payment settings, set up test data. So turn test data on and you just fill this out with all this dummy data. Here you would put, based on what payment service you're using, you would put the test credit card number information from the payment service. And when you go to the payment method screen, you'll see whichever payment service you're set up with, there'll be an item which will show you different test credit card numbers you can use, okay? So I would set up test data. And the benefit of this is that, you'll see here, I'm opening up an incognito window, going to the site, clicking, first of all, let me just make sure I log out. Going to purchase something, and you'll see having the test data turn on means it will automatically populate the entire checkout form. So I don't have to type all this stuff in manually every time I want to run a test. It saves so much time. And it lets you easily test your entire process without having to worry about manually typing this in every single time. And each time it generates a unique email address. So you don't have to worry about that either. And then I can just click submit order. So this is how I prefer to do testing. I literally just open up an incognito window or open up a browser window in another browser, and I go through whatever process that I'm looking to go through in order to test it, to give things as much exposure as possible to real world scenarios, and so that I don't miss anything and stuff doesn't fall through the cracks. Okay, so. And there was one more question that came in offline, or from our support team. As part of the registration process, we need to have members e-sign an activity waiver with signatures that are legally defensible in court. Does MemberMouse include any functionality for that, or are there other plugins that can be used with MemberMouse for this purpose? MemberMouse does not do this. However, if we just do a quick search, WordPress e-signature plugin, you can look through these. I don't know anything about these, but there seem to be many options for WordPress plugins that allow you to do e-signing. And because MemberMouse integrates seamlessly with the WordPress user system, I don't foresee that there would be any issues in using these plugins in conjunction with each other. We want to include a feature for gifting memberships. I see you do include that, but is it available in all plans you offer? Yes, gifting is available on the starter plan all the way up. We extend memberships for those that sign up on October 1st through the following year. Is there a way to do this automatically in MemberMouse? I'm not sure that I understand the question. I'll come back to that. I did not see anything about the number of websites a single plan will support. Is it just one site per plan, or would you count the total members across sites to determine plan needs? It's just one site per plan. And are discounts available for organizations who want to use MemberMouse for multiple affiliated club websites? We don't have a standard discount plan situation, but we're always willing to have that conversation. If you're, it's not going to be like if you're looking to do 2 or 3 websites, like there's not likely to be any discounts there. But if you're looking to do something like, from, I don't know what the number is, but just contact us and we can talk about it. We're open to working with people on stuff like that. Okay, so your thing about extend memberships for those who, I don't know, Cindy, do you know what this is about? We extend memberships for those that sign up on October 1st through the following year. Is there a way to do this automatically in MemberMouse? For whatever reason, that doesn't make sense to me. What's being asked? Anyway, so yeah, I don't understand that question, so I can't. I think they're saying they want the new subscription to go all the way until the end of next year, so longer than a year. And Wolf is saying, sounds to me like he wants to add additional time to a membership. Okay, so basically the subscription is a year, but you want it to basically start on a particular date. So if you're signing up in October, you want to automatically have it be for the end of that year, but then all the way to the end of the next year. There's no automated way to do this. There's 2 things that come to top of mind. One is you basically just create products that have the appropriate subscription length, trial length, based on when they're signing up. This isn't clean at all, but basically you could say October signups, and it would be associated with whatever your membership level is, and the price would be whatever the price is. And the trial would be whatever the price is, and the trial period would be whatever the number of months is before you want it to start recurring annually. So in this case, if it's October, November, December, so 15 months. And then the subscription would be 1 year. So basically, if you created this product and you would do it for every month, and then you would have to offer somebody to buy the appropriate product in the right month, they would have the trial period, which is the number of months until the annual time you want everybody to rebill, and then you would have the standard annual subscription that starts after that. So, it's a little bit clunky, but that could work. And then the next thing, of course, is what I demonstrated earlier, which is if you're on the Membermouse Advanced plan, you could just go to subscriptions and change their next rebill date. But this isn't an automated solution. So that's the best answers I have for that. Okay, so I think that's all the questions. So unless there are if there aren't any more questions, then we'll jump off. Cool. No more questions? All right. Well, thank you all for joining me. Oh, I will mention that I did an interview with this guy who represents a conference that happens in Scotland every year. It's canceled this year. I was going to be going there and being on a panel to talk about like membership and Patreon models. But anyway, there's a podcast that just came out with this guy where I talked to him about specifically to the audience of creatives, and how creatives can use membership and patronage models to create another form of stable income for themselves. So yeah, Cindy just shared the link to that in the chat. So check that out. Also, I just had released another podcast episode on my podcast. So if you go to Subscription Entrepreneur /141, it's going to be released today. It is imminent. It's not up yet, but it will be released today. So Subscription Entrepreneur /141, interesting conversation with this guy, Mufa, who lives down in South America. He runs many businesses, a hotel business, a bean to bar chocolate company. But he's a really interesting story. He started off as a guy in Chicago who was really high achieving, worked in as a in the financial industry, reviewing mortgages and stuff like that. And it just like got to a point where he's like, I can't do this anymore. Life-changing transition, basically ended up doing what he's doing now, but he has a strong perspective on running sustainable businesses. And so he has a lot of interesting thoughts about that. And so if you're interested, that conversation is going to be coming out sometime today. And yeah, that's it. So I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy, keeping calm, and we will see you again next week at this time. If you have any questions in the meantime, email our support team at support@membermouse.com, and have a nice weekend. I'll talk to you next time.